Well, hello, boys and girls. Nadine Johnson visits the Colleton County Memorial Library. Wow, Nadine, I read the book and it was very good. I'm so interested in how you outlined racism and you made it seem comfortable on all levels. Can you tell the boys and girls before your presentation a little sneak peek into the gist of what Moses experienced as far as racism is concerned?
Oh, definitely. So, Moses, he's like any kid. He's going about his business, doing what he's doing, and then he gets put into the situation where he moves to a new school, and he feels like his teacher is treating him a little bit different than all the other kids. And so he doesn't really know how to voice it, how to say it, but he knows the treatment is different.
Okay.
And so he encounters racism and microaggression from his teacher.
Microaggression is a comment or action that subtly or often unconsciously or unintentionally expresses a prejudiced attitude toward a member of a marginal group, such as a racial minority or an ethnic group.
And then that kind of trickles over into one or two of his classmates that really treat him negatively as well. And so he has to figure out, is he supposed to stand up to his teacher?
Right.
Should he stand up to his classmates about what he's feeling? And that's one of the main things that he has to deal with. He also has to deal with what he sees going on in the news. So he sees the treatment of African Americans, and he witnessed on the news seeing a young man getting shot. And it's actually a real story that happened, something that I watched, and I couldn't understand, and I thought, how would a young boy watching this react to it? And so we see how he not only handles racism that's happening to him, but how he handles racism that's happening around him in his community and other communities as well.
Wow. Well, I have to say that you covered it well in this book. And boys and girls, it's a must read. So listen up and she'll give you some more tidbits about the book.
We are excited that you are here with us, at least on YouTube. And I think you're going to enjoy this program today. You see, she is a friend of mine of many, many years, and she is just a great author. Not only that, she's an illustrator, she's a graphic designer, she's a teacher, she's a mother. Enough about what I think. Let's let you decide what you think about our author, Nadine Johnson. Nadine!
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We would love to hear about your new book, so take it away.
All right. Thank you, Miss Shiela. First, let me thank Miss Shiela, Miss Sue, and the Colleton County Memorial Library for bringing me here today. It's always a joy to come here and introduce my books and what I've been doing lately. So first, let me tell you just a little bit about myself. As Ms. Shiela said, I'm a teacher. I'm a middle grade math teacher. So I'm used to being around kids all day, all the time. And I'm also an author. And I'm going to talk to you today about my new book. It's called I Write Rhymes. But before I get into this middle grade novel, I think it's important to tell you how I got started into writing a little bit. I wrote my first book way back in 2007. And my first book is actually right here. It's called Last Night I Dreamt I Was a Doctor. Now, I didn't know I was going to write this book, but I had a son at the time. He was about 3 years old. And I would go to the library and I would say, where are the books that are about African American boys? Because I wanted to present him with stories that represent who he is. And it was very hard at that time. Remember, this is all the way back in 2005, 2006. It was very difficult to find inspiring books with African American boys on the front. And so that's why I started writing in the first place. And I published Last Night I Dreamt I Was a Doctor. Not necessarily to turn him into a doctor, but to really get young kids to start thinking about what they want to be when they grow up. So I started the series Last night I dreamt I was a doctor. Then this last night I dreamt I was a musician. And then last night I dreamt I was a teacher. So those are the 3 books in the series. And then I guess the writing bug hit me. And I kept writing more books and more books and more books. Because when you have ideas, you have no choice but to continue to write them. And so the publishing industry is sometimes very difficult to maneuver. And so I decided to create my own company. So you can create your own company and publish your own books, which is what I did. My company is 123 Mango Tree, and you can find it at 123mangotree.com. And so if you're interested in writing and you want to just do it the way you want to do it and get it out there, you can start your own company. All right? So that's how I got started into writing. Now, why did I write this new book? Well, I had given up on writing, meaning I had put a pause on it for a while to do other things. But one day I met a young woman and she told me a story about a teacher. And this woman and her class went on a trip. And the teacher said something so negative to this little 3rd grade boy, one of her friends, that she believed that it forever impacted his life in a negative way. And I was very hurt by the story because I don't want any child to be impacted negatively by their teacher. Teachers are supposed to inspire and motivate us to be great. And so the story she told me just stayed in my heart. And for about a year. And I just kept remembering it. And I thought, I have to redeem that child somehow. And I decided to write about the story. So she brought the idea to me because I wasn't thinking of writing any more books. But she brought the idea to me. And it stayed with me. I thought about it for about maybe 2 years. The idea lived in my head. And I started writing the story in my head before I even wrote it down on paper. So you can think about a story before you even write it. And I thought about it. I thought how I can put the story together, how I can make a strong character, a beautiful 12-year-old boy who's in 8th grade, who stands up for himself. And so finally, the ideas came to me and I just poured it out on my computer and wrote I Write Rhymes. Now this book is a blend of prose and poetry. So it's a story, but there's also poetry throughout because our main character, Moses, he's a poet. He loves writing poetry. And so he uses poetry to help get through the difficult times in his life. Or even when he's having a great time, he writes poetry. And so throughout this book, you'll find some of his poetry as well. So I Write Rhymes is really about a boy named Moses. And Moses finds out his family is going to be changing and he doesn't take it very well. And so he has to move to a new school, and that's where he encounters racism for the very first time. Now, that's a very deep topic. However, the way it's written, you're not going to leave feeling heavy. You're going to leave, after you read this book, you're going to feel hopeful about what you can do and the positive energy that you can put out into this world to change this world. So we have some very deep topics that we talk about in this book, but like I said, the way it's written, you're going to leave feeling hopeful. We talk about self-confidence. We talk about finding our self-worth and really learning self-control. We talk about all the things that young people need to learn, and through Moses, you're going to learn how to do those things, how to think positively about yourself, how to control when your anger and things you can do to make it through difficult times in your life. And so I want to share a little bit of this book with you today and hope that it motivates you to read this book. You can come to the Colleton County Memorial Library and check out a copy and read it for yourselves. I encourage parents to read it. I encourage teachers to read it and to read it with their students to have great discussion about the way our world is and about our place in the world. And it doesn't matter if you're black or white or Latino, you're going to love this book and you're going to fall in love with Moses because he is a quirky, funny, interesting character, and you're going to be glad you get to know him. So I wanted to read to you a part of this book. This is when he first moves to the new area. And he doesn't really know what the area is about. He doesn't really know if he'll make any friends or anything like that. And he sees a boy outside playing basketball. And his dad is trying to encourage him to go out and try to make friends, but he doesn't really want to go. So his dad says, okay, I'll unpack your stuff if you go. And then he decides to go. So I want to read to you the interaction between Moses and Danny, his new neighbor. He says, the boy could be my age, but he's definitely taller. His James 23 jersey hangs loose like his long sweaty hair. He can hoop. I couldn't make any of the shots he's sinking. The basket looks as high as the real thing too. He has one of those portable ones with a cement block on the bottom to keep it from blowing away. I shuffle across the street and wave like a dodo. Hey, what's up? Hey, dude. He passes the ball between his hands. Y'all moving in? Yeah, I was unpacking. I'm Moses. Danny. He sinks a three-pointer. You go to Southern Academy? Only nerds go there, Danny says. I got into Bell Charter High this year. Oh, I wipe the burn off my face. Where do you go? He asks. I used to go to Bell Middle, but I'm starting Southern Academy on Monday. My bad, dude, he chuckles. I didn't mean what I said. I didn't think you would be going there. Why? He scratches his head. No reason. I know there's a reason, but I don't press. What grade you in? I'm in 8th. 9th, Danny says. You ball? He stretches out his arms with the ball. Nah, let me guess. You play football, running back, right? Nope. Soccer? I shake my head. Then what do you play? Nothing really. For real? This is why I didn't want to come over here. It's not my fault I'm horrible at sports. Dad's 6 foot tall, bald, black dude who only plays golf, which he learned to get clients, rich clients with stocks and bonds. I have to finish unpacking before my dad has a fit. See you around. Okay, dude. Good luck at Southern. He says it like I'm going to need some luck. I hurry back to my house, feeling like a non-athletic dud. So after the conversation with Danny, he's feeling some kind of way. Something is bothering him a little bit. And so he writes a poem about the situation. And I'm going to read that poem to you. The poem is called What Do I Play? By Moses. He says, 5'1", smart, skinny, and black. The rhymes I write are never whack. Give me a pen and I'll draw you a sketch. Give me your dog and I'll teach him to fetch. Math whiz and an English scholar, I'll make a meal, so take this $1. I know all the poets from Brooks to Baldwin, and all the dreamers from Tubman to King.
My mind is sharp, and I am strong. I can run a race 5 miles long. I'm an honest guy, and always fair. If you need something, I'll gladly share.
All these gifts ooze out of me, so much so, they're easy to see. But when we met outside today, all you asked is, what do I play? And so this is Moses's introduction into really thinking about what his skin color means to other people. So everybody has that defining moment where they have to think about who they are, their self-identity, what they mean to other people, how other people sees them. And this is the first inkling that Moses has before he starts his new school. And so as we follow his journey through this book, we see he goes through ups and downs, and then we also see how he makes it over those tough moments in his life. And so I wanted to read to you another poem where Moses has learned from his mother to really think about or how he's feeling, to trust his intuition. Because your intuition usually tells you when not to do something or when to go ahead and do it. So there's a part in this book where his intuition tells him not to do something, but he doesn't listen. Not all his fault. He kind of is forced to do it. But at the end he realized, boy, I shouldn't have done this. And so I'm going to read to you his poem called Intuition. This is again by Moses. It says, my intuition speaks. Something reeks. My stomach churns, my heart burns. My palms sweat, I start to fret. It says to go, but I say no. It says to leave, but I say please. I feel a sharp pain, it drives me insane. My intuition speaks. Boy, listen when I speak. All right, so that's a part of his growing up as well, a part of him maturing throughout this book. And then there are times when he feels really bad and he writes about it, and by writing about it he gets to feel a little bit better about the situation. And so I'm going to read you another poem that really addresses how you can get to a point where you think things are so tough, but if you just write about it, it can help you get over the hump. And so he writes a poem called I Want Out. He says, I want out of the box that is your brain. I want out of the city that stepped on my name. I want out of the country that has become so lame. I want out of the world that is driving me insane. And so he wrote the story when he's witnessing what's going on TV, the trauma that's happening in the world, the divisiveness. So this is a poem he wrote about that time. But he learned after writing this to talk about it. And he talked about it with his dad, who helped him to get over this, the sadness that he was feeling. And throughout this book, you're also going to see Moses maturing. He tends to handle things with anger, but throughout this book, you're going to see him gradually learn how to deal with his anger and how to really think about things before reacting. And so he wrote a poem, and it's all on this bookmark here, and it's called Regret. This is when he's kind of coming to terms with learning that anger doesn't really solve anything. All right, so he wrote this poem called Regret, and he says, I get upset and start to sweat. My head explodes and I unload all the hurt and pain that's stuck in my brain. I don't think what's next because I'm so vexed. Then the damage is done and the gain is none. I finally learned only regret is earned when I lose control and let pain rule my soul. So I hope that you guys enjoyed some of those readings. This is a great story, like I said, to read, come into the library, pick out the book, or check out the book on 123mangotree.com. But before we got started today, we had some of the patrons read some of the poems, and I wanted to ask for the audience if they had a favorite poem that they read. Let's start with Mitsu.
I found that the Intuition Speaks is a very good, it's a very telltale poem, because it tells us what we've learned in our brain that we don't even realize.
Yes.
So if we listen to our brain and the things that we've learned, which is what intuition is,
Yes.
hopefully we'll be going in the right direction and make the right choices.
Yeah, so we definitely are born with that inner gift to decipher right and wrong. And so we have to tap into that inner gift, and really that's our intuition. It tells us, like Ms. Sue said, what is good, what is bad, and the direction we should move. All right, what was your favorite poem?
My favorite was How Does It Work?
How Does It Work? So tell me why that was your favorite.
Because it's actually true to like what's going on now.
Yeah, so how does it work? I'll read that one since that's your favorite. It says, when you enter the world and start to holler, they put you in a box to match your color. Sit over there. That's where you fit. Don't move one muscle. Don't stand, just sit. Read that list in front of you. Those are the things that you're allowed to do. Don't step outside or try to leave, or we'll put you back on bended knees. And so a lot of students like that poem. Like he said, it relates to what's going on in our world today. And sometimes you feel like there's only certain things that you're allowed to do. And when you read this book, you understand it's not just African American boys who feel like they're in a box. We're going to find out that Danny also feels like he's put in a box of things that he can and can't do. All right. So, Miss Shiela, what was your favorite poem?
You know, I enjoyed every last one of them. Like Miss Sue, I liked Intuition Speaks, and I actually liked how it works. But I had to go with Like a Puppet.
Like a puppet.
Like a Puppet. And I like that poem because a lot of people don't like truth, and sometimes I'm a little too hard on truth. I'm a little too blunt. But I think I tell Miss Sue this all the time because my auntie always says, tell the truth and keep the love flowing.
Yes.
So, Like a Puppet, because it speaks about the importance of truth.
Yes, yes. And so in this book, I'm not gonna read that poem to you. I want you to read this book, and you're gonna understand why he wrote that poem and the truth and the knowledge that he came to learn that made him write that poem. Because I think it's important for you to understand why he wrote it before I read that poem. All right. But thank you so much. The one activity I want you guys to do, I want you guys to realize that really, I'm not the only one that can be an author. You can be an author too. That's very easy. So everyone here in the audience, you guys are going to be authors today. All right. So how can you be an author? Let me tell you, you can make your own books. It is very, very, very easy to make your own book. You're going to take some 11 by 14 pieces of paper. All right. You're going to fold them in half. You're going to staple them together at the sides, and look at that. You have your own book. So you can decorate the cover. You can call your book anything you want. That's the great thing of writing your own book. You can create your own title. So you're going to either write a story or you're going to write poems in this book. So on the cover, I want you to put your name because you're going to be the author. And I want you to design it any way you want. Use color pencils, use crayons. You can come into the library and use whatever they have to create your book. Then you're going to open it up, and then you're going to start writing. If you're feeling sad about something, if you're feeling glad about something, I want you to write about it. If you have a story in your head that you've been thinking about, I want you to start writing your first book. All right, so I'm going to leave some of these at the library, so until supplies last, you can pick it up and come in and you can create your own book. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready for that? All right, so don't forget, it's not only myself that can be an author. You can be an author too with your own book. Thank you guys so much.
That was awesome.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Miss
you.
Nadine, I enjoyed every moment of this, and I know you did too, boys and girls. So, like she said, we're gonna have it while supplies last. So come by and say, hey, I saw Miss Nadine, and you have any more of those books left? I want to write me a story, and you'll get one. Okay? We have a parting gift for you, Miss Nadine.
Thank you, Miss Shiela.
And we hope you can use some of the things that's in there. Yes. And just know that we appreciate you.
It was wonderful. I had a wonderful time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.